Hello and welcome back. In previous lecture, we talked about hydraulic sample. We got a brief introduction on the purpose of hydraulic samples in reading any hydraulic circuits and what information I can get from the sample and what information will not be represented in hydraulic samples. Also, we have converted the basic hydraulic sketch into a hydraulic circuit samples, and in this lecture we'll start now talking about each hydraulic component, symbology, and to understand how it will be represented in a hydraulic circuit. The basic component symbols used are the outlines of circle, squares, diamonds, rectangles, and few other geometrical features. These raw component symbols or envelopes will have supplemental component symbols or element added to them in order to create or illustrate a specific type of component, such as valves, pump, or motor. The size of components outlined may be varied to emphasize certain components or indicate a difference between the main and auxiliary component. Otherwise, variations in size are not an indication of a component's physical size. We discussed this earlier in the previous lecture also as well. For hydraulic line samples, we have common four samples are presented here, where the first solid line is a hydraulic working lines carrying hydraulic oil. The major working lines carry the major flow of an oil in a hydraulic system. The dashed one is the pilot or drain lines. These lines carry a small volume of oil used as an auxiliary flow to actuate or control hydraulic component, or to carry leakage oil back to a reservoir. So dashed line purely indicates a drain or pilot lines. This symbol, the enclosure line, is used to illustrate the boundaries of area on a machine in which hydraulic components are contained. And this symbol represents the instrument line, which is used to connect an instrument to its sensor. For crossing and joining lines will be presented in these symbols to give us indications which line are crossing each others and which are joining each others. Controlling the flow of an oil also can be presented in these symbols, where we have two types mainly: normal restriction or line restriction without any control, and if we have an arrow in this one, it represents a controlled flow restrictions. It was quite simple lecture. Thank you and see you in next lecture.